Hey everyone, Matt here with Dukes Models, and welcome to part 4 of the Kinetic Hornet build review. This time out, we'll be playing with the wings and the fuselage. Now one thing that Kinetic does with this kit is they give you the option to fold the wings, so I figured it would be fun to go ahead and fold one of them and keep the other one straight. Here you can see where they've got these indents inside the wings to go ahead and make the cut, so let's do that. This is one of those that's not hard, but it's extremely tedious to make it actually work. So I've gone ahead and sped this up so you're not sitting here watching the modeling equivalent of paint drying. You can see it's starting to come apart. Stress lines. Still more cutting. Just a little bit of pressure on the wing. You don't have to worry about the wingtips here because Kinetic kindly gives you replacements. So go ahead and beat the fucking shit out of them. There we go. And obviously, any sort of cut like that, it's going to take a little bit of cleanup. So that happens. Now we've got to make a cut on the lower wing as well and drill out the holes for the pylons. So the X-Acto makes short work of those. A little bit of light cleanup on the outer surface there. Here you can see they show, you know, cut here, throw it away. So back to cutting. I find using the backside of an X-Acto is actually really good at digging through these quickly. Not quite that quickly, I skipped a little bit. Now we've got sanding to clean it up, and now we're installing the lower wings to the upper wings. The fit on these is fantastic, by the way. They click in place with quite a bit of authority. And because you've got control surfaces all around the wings, you know, you've got the leading edge flaps up front, you've got the flaps and ailerons in the back, you're pretty good. You can just gob glue on here and let it do its thing. A few clamps just to be on the safe side. And you can see here how nicely that just, once you get it locked, just boom, right in place. And then the MEK comes out. Get that stuff welded to be extra thin as well. I like using the MEK along the various edges because it does a really nice job of really fusing the pieces together. And up front we've got the IP hood. This also fits nicely in place. Some helpful locating tabs. As you can see them here on the bottom. Just going to hit that with some extra thin. And now it's time to play with the nose. So last time out we glued that bulkhead piece, and now we are going to fit the nose to it. So the easiest way to do this is actually to stand this thing up so you can push down while you're gluing. This is one that definitely takes its share of pressure. There's really no way to clamp it. You just kind of have to hold it for an extended period of time while it sets up. And gluing that sort of chin piece in from the inside. Now, one nice thing is you don't really have to worry here about putting any sort of nose weight in. This kit has, just the way that a Hornet is set up, as well as, the bulkhead piece up front and the plastic of the gear bay and all that provides plenty of weight. Now, what I'm pointing at here are those little ramps. You have to pay attention to those when you're installing the upper fuselage because they will cause interference. So you kind of have to pinch and squeeze to get this to lock in place. You can see there where if you don't quite get it, they will interfere. But if you pinch just so, everything snaps into place. And it's actually pretty awesome to behold. Check that out. Then the leading edge extensions sort of lock up into the upper portions of them. And we can start playing with glue once again. There's some nasty seams along here that'll have to be fought, but the good thing is they're on the underside, so you're not having to deal with destroying detail on the upper portions of the aircraft here. Downside is with the curvature of the leading edge extensions, it's really, really hard to get a clamp on here. So again, you're left with this, apply steady pressure with your frickin' hands. It's kind of boring. Might want to invest in an audiobook as you build this guy. Once we've got those covered, go ahead and tackle the join on the aft portion of the fuselage. This will also take some cleanup. Not that bad. It's just, there happens to be a line there. You can do the good old squeeze some chunks of that glue out. That'll help with the cleaning up of the seams. Now another fun thing is the way that the nose fits onto the way that the upper fuselage fits onto the nose. There's this gap right at the end of the lurks. And there's really no way to close it. And then we've got this awesome gap by the nose cannon and the refueling probe area. Again, this is where that whole idea of cutting off the forward portion of the upper fuselage and gluing it to the nose to begin with actually seems to gain a lot of promise. Because you're already having to deal with a seam by that sort of front edge of the lurks. So, if you can just cut it out and deal with those two seams there and not have to deal with them by the nose gun, why not, right? Anyway, more glue. Let it do its job. More glue on the underside of the lurks. This fit of the forward portion here was also kind of dicey. I think in retrospect, I would have gone back and sanded down that forward portion on the underside a little bit just to make sure that thing didn't have any real interference in fitting and could do its job. And then you can always, shim it and fill it later on. It's a tough place to really hold. Okay, so now moving on to the folded wing. So we've got this nice little hinge piece here that just slots right into the wing. It's a nice fit. You can see it here as well. Need a little bit of cleanup on the wing before it really sits in there properly. But once we do that, it slots in very nicely. So now it's time to commit. Add some glue and done. Now what about the folded wing? Oh, let's do this. Let's do the flap first. Or no, these are the leading edge slats. My bad. So, as you can see, they've got A1 and A3 coming together, but the mounting tabs are wrong. They don't fit where they're supposed to go because Kinetic got the part numbers wrong. That's where that one goes. So, again, with the Kinetic instructions, pay attention. Don't just blindly trust them. Look a few steps ahead. And once you do that, and once you figure out what you need to do, it's pretty easy to figure out where they've gone wrong. But still, they've gone wrong in places. Now let's do the folded wing. So again, Kinetic gives you these parts, which is fantastic. They've got these nice little teeth that connect into the hinge joint after all the attendant cleanup is done, of course. A little bit of glue in here. Now, one thing Kinetic doesn't do that I actually screwed up on here, they don't tell you the angle at which to glue the folded wing. I went with a pretty much strictly vertical, and that caused problems fitting the ailerons later on. So, word to the wise, either fit the ailerons first and then try to get this on there, or know that it needs to be canted inward just a little bit in order to be able to clear the ailerons and then the actual, like I guess the hinge covers. I'm not sure what they're called. Anyway, that wraps us up for part 4 with the wings and the fuselage. In part 5, we will be playing with the rest of the control surfaces.